Today I thought it was time to have your say. Barney and I are going to answer some of your questions that you kindly posted up on my community page. This is going to be a monthly spot where you get your chance to ask your questions direct to me and I'll answer them on the mat. To start with, KTM Carl, got my little teleprompter up on the left hand side here. He says, I don't really have a question, I just want to thank you for the content that you put out. Very informative to someone that is learning the game. KTM Carl, it is my agenda here to give you absolutely a one-stop shop that is going to give you an opportunity to play the game to the best of your ability, and it is my pleasure. Thank you so much for commenting and glad for you to be a part of the channel. Roginator 3000 goes on and asks, Stu, your backswing series is getting me in a good position, but I still struggle to turn my left side out of the way on the way down. I still feel I'm pushing laterally, which is creating inconsistent contact. I look forward to the downswing series. Yes, so many of you have really, Barney, come over here for me, come over here for me, come over here for me, come over here, good boy, sit down, good boy. So many of you, Barney, come on, be a good boy, lovely. So many of you have talked about and referenced the ability to turn your left hip out of the way. Of course, my downswing series is coming, and hopefully at the moment you're enjoying my backswing series. Barney and I have discussed at great length about how this left hip wants to turn out the way. The biggest thing that I see on my mat is how people are not using their left leg when they're pulling on the golf club. Understand that the speed and energy that you put in the handle of the golf club in the pull phase must be equaled with the amount of push away from the target with your left hip. If the left hip is not pushing away from the target, you can't open your left side up. So as much as you will pull, you need to push back. Now, depending on how much you've been a puller of the golf club and how much you've been a pusher with the right foot in the downswing, you'll ultimately have to either up the pressure in your left leg or up the pressure in your pull phase. So do understand, Roginator 3000, that the left leg must push away from the target, and again focusing on the areas that are running through your left foot. Where is the weight at strike? So often I see so many golfers heavily on two places, either so much on the toe of the foot, or because they've worked on this utter garbage that was going around about turning this left knee out, absolute nonsense. Because that left knee has gone out, I see so many golfers with their foot rolled onto the outside of the left foot, so dysfunctional. And really, the person that started this left knee kicking out, and if you're a golf coach out there that's encouraged that, you really want to go and take a look in the mirror. So that pressure going from toe to heel and that left foot feeling flat as you're pulling down really needs to encourage almost the pressure to go in a straight line from toe to heel. That knee is going to kick out because that hip is rotating back. So really, Roginator, really think about the pressures through that left foot and how early you want to push back with that left leg. Hopefully that answers that question. Great question from Lee Martin. He asks, I've been making some progress with my downswing, but I always seem to revert to tight and get through the downswing, and then I seem to throw my trail hip, and I'm assuming, again, depends on whether you're a right-hander or left-hander, but the right hip throws itself out to the right. And obviously the prevalence of throwing the club and the handle out to the right is causing that trail hip to really be an issue. Now, if you've seen my videos on the wedges, I think it's really important that you understand that this back wedge, when the back wedge is placed this way around, in the effort of trying to get the left hip back, it's very easy for this trail hip to get fired off to the right. So what I would encourage you to do is simply go with one wedge, take the other wedge away and just pop that up on your right foot. And just make some swings where you're going to go back and you're going to really start to feel as you pull on the golf club forwards you're going to really hold that pressure back in that right hip there, Lee, so that as you pull the golf club, the right hip is held back. And I don't really like thinking of anything being held in place, but the pressure is going to remain in that right heel and left toe for a little longer. That really starts to make that hip stay back. But really, the problem area that you have is because the handle gets so deep and then gets driven out, that's why it sucks the trail hip forwards. So in conjunction with that right wedge, now as you pull the golf club down, keep the pressure on that low point of the wedge as you pull the handle forwards, and then what you'll start to feel is an increase in pressure in the 2 points, the right heel and the left toe, as you're pulling the handle forwards. And now you should be able to switch them around and start to feel how that handle moving forwards, the pressure stays in the heel. Now that gives that right hip a little bit more time to settle, and you get the hand in the right spot in an effort to then move that handle a little bit more underneath you and to the left. So use that wedge on your right foot, flip it around, make the slope go away from the golf ball, as you can see down on the mat here. And I think that will really start to change the way the right hip moves in your downswing, and how you can get the handle in the right spot to really set up that exit pitch with the handle. Hopefully, Lee, that's given you some insight. A great question from Yosh. He asks, I'm struggling with the transition phase from the top of the backswing to the beginning of the downswing. Do you suppose to allow a moment of chill out power before pulling and starting the downswing? From some of your videos, it seems so quick. Well, let's just think about shifting some weight around. And if I just go back here and just pick up this 20 kilogram bag. Now, this 20 kilogram bag, actually, is it 20 kilogram bag? What is it, Barnes? It's 10 kilogram. Come sit down, come sit down, come sit down, come sit down. Good, sit down, good boy. Sit down. Think about the fact that if this 10 kilogram bag, as a static weight, is really quite light, 10 kilos, pretty much all of you can pick that up. But now get it in motion. When that weight is shifting off in this direction, as I then try and pull it back in the opposite direction, I have to gather it up before I pull it back in the opposite direction. That chill out power, or that chill out power, that chill out moment that you reference, is simply the mass changing direction. And as soon as I feel like I've got that mass gathered up, I then give it as much as I can, as much speed as I can on the way down, in the same way as I would do with the golf club. So when you reference that chill out power, I'm really only thinking about gathering up the golf club in the transition phase and then pulling hard. So that chill out power is literally about the mass shifting from backswing to downswing. That moment is when I'll pull the golf club hard, because I'm sensing at the top of the backswing that moment I can gather it all up and take it with me without compromising the shape of my swing, the shape of my backswing, in an effort to deliver it into the golf ball in the right manner. I hope that helps, Yosh. Great question from Magnus Green T5V. Hi Stu, your concept is so structured. In what order would you get going? Opposition, legs, shoulders, and then handle pressure. Well, I would really inspire you to check out my backswing series after you've watched my grip series. So many golfers are really trying to rush into building their golf swing before they haven't got the great foundations. So my grip series, my setup series, and then my backswing series is really going to give you a fast track into getting yourself in the right process. As a concept, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with concept. It's like your concept of walking, Stuart, your concept of breathing, Stuart, your concept of eating, Stuart, that's an ambiguous one, but your concept of movement is But the way I see it is how we need to move as humans, standing on 2 feet, swinging a lever around ourselves, adhering to the parameters that are being allowed in an effort to deliver consistently straight golf shots. If it's seen as a concept, obviously have no problem with that. I see it as a way of life with golfers, how we should be moving. So, concept sounds like I'm creating a cult. It's really about making people move well with the golf club in their hand and giving you the opportunity to build something with some foundation, some understanding, and something that's going to allow you to play the game really well. Doug, Elio, 7,000. Doug came along to the Saturday or the Friday night live on the 20th of December. It was great to meet him. Fingers crossed I have more flexibility once the hip replacement has healed. So he's got 2 questions for me. Being a bit greedy there, Doug, but we'll let you off. Where would you suggest someone starts after such a thing, i.e. hitting balls versus drills? Think of yourself now as in a dynamic warm-up. What you're trying to do is warm your body up after it's been laying around not doing very much, recuperating. In the same way, if you're going to get out of the car, you got up first thing in the morning, you're cold, and you start warming up, you wouldn't go straight into some dynamic stretches at full boost. So I would be making some shorter swings, some low energy drill swings, get a club in your hand, refresh yourself on how to hold it, and just go through that pattern of just moving gently. Don't reach, I've done a video just recently, this one up here that talks about part 5 of the backswing series. I talk about how we get to the outer limits at the top of the backswing. That's where we can start to see the form and structure of a golf swing start to change. So when you get to that point, that's when you'll then start to feel stress on the body. You never want to get to that point if you're just warming up. So just go through the motions of all of the different drills, all of the different ingredients I talk about, and just do them at a low energy. Question 2, how would you go about coaching someone who is a bit wristy and has a tendency to over-rotate the club face? Well, if he's over-rotating, or he or she is over-rotating the club face, then they are definitely gripping the club poorly. Because if they're over-rotating the club face, they'll be hitting it a long way left with a good grip. So first of all, check the grip out, and then I'd go and check out that video first of all, which is going to tell you how to start to manage the pressure on the handle, which will really start to back off the amount of wrist set a golfer uses. Matthew Walters asks, with your teaching, what are the most common issues and reasons you see for hooks and pushes? I bought the grip trainer you suggest, but I'm struggling with a 2-way miss. Love your channel. Thank you so much, Matthew, for those kind words and your question. I should preface by saying that my path is in to out, and I tend to see more of a snappy hook the lower I go in the bag, hybrids, 6 irons, etc. Well, let me just move this away. Barney's got a few thoughts on that. Hopefully, Barney's showing you his good behaviour, aren't you? You're being a very good boy. So often what tends to happen is, because of the way golfers have gripped the golf club, how they unload this wrist angle, and ultimately this right hand has an influence on the golf club, but how you use the shape of the left hand through strike is crucial. You can see that I'm allowing that golf club to unload. There is absolutely no hold there. My golf club is swinging, and as it's swinging, can you see how my left wrist still has cup in it? The golf club swung, and the club face is straight. Now if I do that with a golf ball, and I just make that left hand swing the golf club, you can see that I've still got cup, I've unloaded the golf club, and you can see I've got a face to path of only 1 degree. The most common flaw with golfers that adopt my hold is that because they've been so inside out, when the handle is moving away and the handle is standing up, the unfortunate thing is that it makes the club face so shut, so open, that they then have to turn the face down. So one of the videos that I did, this one up here, really talks about how that handle can move down and the club head can move up. And as I move the handle down and I move the handle to the left. As the club head swings back up, you can see my handle's moved in, my head has still moved in, but look how much loft I've got on the golf club. If I keep the club head in the same spot and then I move the handle closer to the ball line, because ultimately where the club head is here, the club head would be in a very similar area for most of you, but where the handle is, you can see where the face then gets compromised. So when everyone's talking about the face orientation, it's really the handle orientation that is the thing that's compromising the face orientation. The more a golfer works from the inside and pushes it out, the more open the face is, then the more you have to turn it down. So Matthew, when you're talking about you're getting big snap hooks with this left hand, just go and check out my club path, or should I say my handle path video. That will really start to change the way you use that wrist angle when the golf club is opening and shutting, and hopefully that will give you some insights into how to fix that hook of yours. A regular to my channel, Gary Satterfield. If you watch any of my Monday night lives, he's always coming on and giving me a bit of grief. Love it, Gary. Question number 1 of 72. I know bowing of the wrist on the follow through is garbage, you're absolutely correct, but is it okay to bow a little on the backswing as long as you don't try keeping it bowed on the follow through? Couldn't disagree with you more, or should I say, I couldn't urge you more to not bow your wrist on your backswing if your grip is correct. If your grip is correct and you move the golf club and set it, you really won't see any bow at all. If you're needing to bow the golf club or bow the wrist to keep the ball straight, then you've got an impact issue. You haven't got a backswing issue. If you're needing to bow your wrist in your backswing to shut your face down, you've got a grip issue. So the bow, this really flexion of the left wrist, is something that is encouraged by coaches around the world in an effort to stop you from hitting it to the right, which is really offsetting a handle that's moving out to the right because it's opening the face, and so you bow the wrist and it shuts the face. So if you've got an opportunity, or should I say, if you bow your wrist by virtue of your golf swing, that's fine. Don't go away changing that necessarily. If you've worked on it and it's become that way, go back to how you were. But don't encourage a bow. If you already bow it, no problem. There's ways around working with that, but don't encourage the bow in the backswing. It's utter garbage. Keith N1. Keith was the chap that was in my latest video on a live lesson. Hi Stu, during the downswing I find it difficult to transition from the pull phase to the arm drop and swing phase. I need more of an overall feeling if possible. It's a good question. It's a good question, and I probably had more people ask about this than any other. How do I get this handle tracking forwards, down and swing? Well, the best one is to take the golf club in the left hand, because it really starts to give you an understanding of the orientation of where you need to move the handle. Put the golf club on the inside of the golf ball, make a backswing, and now start to move the handle forwards. And when you move the handle forwards, try and keep the handle at the same height, get your chest back to square. Now what I want you to do is move the handle back to you and swing the club past the ball. So you get a sensation of this down and swing, which is arriving from a handle forwards, down and swing. And so at that point, now all of a sudden you start to get a good sensation and a good collection of moves and feels as the golf club is swinging in space. Then pop your right hand on it and now start to feel the same motion. Now it's not going to look that exaggerated, but it's certainly going to give you an understanding of how you get a handle that, in an ideal world, if you could get it there, it would be great, because you'd have so much speed down at the bottom if that handle was working towards you and that club was swinging over you. You can see as I'm doing this, that club head is absolutely not flipping over. That club head is swinging from the inside. That club head is swinging through strike. That handle is working underneath me. There's a lot of great things happening. How polarized that is compared to It's absolute nonsense. So hopefully, Keith, that little left hand drill, assimilating what you're trying to feel through strike, you can then start to blend that into a 2-gripped practice swing, which will then take you on to really sensing where you're trying to deliver the golf club down through strike. James Baldwin, 6592, asks, I have a strong grip as taught by yourself. My setup is pretty on par and I'm slightly into out on TrackMan. However, despite the strong grip, I really struggle to generate a draw and tend to push more than I draw. It's really frustrating given the strength of the grip. Any pointers? Well, James, a really great drill for someone like yourself is take the club in your left hand and cradle the golf club in your trail hand in the fingertips. And then what I want you to do is just make some back swings where you go halfway back. And now what I want you to do is move the handle back underneath you. Keep the contact point down underneath your left tricep and feel how the right arm now sits on top of your left arm. And so what you'll start to feel is a very different sensation with how your left arm is working. You'll start to feel way more around. And just to show you that, in front there, can you see how my left forearm is sitting down? Right forearm is working over the top. Now, a lot of you will go, oh Stuart, you're flipping the face. Absolute garbage. The club face is not flipped over. That will be flipped over. So handle forwards, handle down. As I'm putting pressure down here, the club is swinging. Look how the face is not flipping. Now the loft is still there. So your issue, James, is the fact that your left hand is rising up and out to the right. That will be the reason why the grip is not making you hit the draw. Really, really crucial. Hopefully that helps for you. TJL Lewis 1310 asks, hi, great content as always, thank you so much. TJL Lewis, I'm leaving the club open through impact by about 3 degrees. Any help as to what I can do to square it up? Club path also +5, cheers in advance. It's absolutely the same issue as James will have. Your handle is rising up too much. And another great drill is simply getting 2 balls. Oops, sorry, Mark. Get 2 balls. Put the object ball in line with the second ball just over a foot past your object ball and make that a straight line. Then move your second ball inside one ball. So you can see that second ball now lines up with this one here. Now what I want you to do, set yourself up to the object ball, lift the club head up above the object ball, and now what I want you to do is get your club head to track over that second ball. Now push the handle lower to the floor and lift the club head up. So it's almost going to touch your lead leg and swing through. And so now you're feeling handle pressure down, club head up. That face will now start to point to the left. At this point, this is where you will be, which is causing your face to open up. If you then start to see too much draw, for the time being, just aim yourself more to the right. And then at that point, you'll be off down the street getting some beautiful draws. And you'll be phoning me up saying, Stuart, I've got a little bit too much draw. And at that point, let's just create a bit more pressure and cut the wrists and you'll be absolutely flying. Hopefully, the TJL Lewis, that helps. Noel 1988 asks, hi Stu, looking for a simple swing thought on course when the 4, 5 and 6 irons aren't as good as they can be. I tend to overthink and it gets worse. Well, stand on the first tee. And I did this with Nick Doherty back in 2011 after losing his card. In fact, it's 2012 when he lost his card. And we wanted him to free himself up. And we used a system called Heart Math, which works on the autonomic nervous system. It allows us to measure HRV, heart rate variability, which starts to change the way you feel and respond and how you think. Give yourself a couple of words of inspiration. One might be hope, one might be love. Link a couple of images with both of those words. Then, when you're out on the golf course, at the start of the round, when it's all going well, keep those images in the forefront of your mind. Then when it starts to drop off, focus more on those images and how they make you feel rather than trying to fix your golf swing. At that point, you'll start to really recruit better movement and give yourself a chance to stay present, not get caught up in the bad shots. Bad shots wash over all of us, and it's having those mental cues that will give you an opportunity to keep pushing down the road and keep playing your best golf. Hopefully that works for you now. DY4918 asks, hi Stuart, would like clarification of the grip, especially the left hand, pad and fingers. A close-up is probably all that's needed. Your grip series was great, but distant visuals were not clear for me, thanks. Well, really good question. We've got the grip aid here. Check out that video up there. If you've not seen it, that will really give you great insight into how to pop the grip on in the right manner. So I've done this on many occasions, and really applying the grip is really quite simple. So we're coming to you there. You can see that the club face is straight, and I've got that white line down the side of the grip by 20 odd degrees. So you've got a straight line down and it's twisted to the side by 20 odd degrees. Now I pop my left hand on the golf club. I've got the pad of the left hand. The pad of the left hand sitting on the club into the fingers. I can't give you any better visual than doing a press up on the grip. My back of my left hand, the back of the left hand is sitting 90 degrees to the club shaft. You'll see a couple of lines there. Now I'm closing my fingers on. You'll see that it goes ever so slightly, kicks to the right. Now we're in a good spot. And there's the left hand. So you've got a grip aid, a press up, and the left hand rotation. Can't be any clearer than that. Hopefully that's going to give you some insight, DY4918. That just about wraps up this Q&A session. Hopefully you've taken a little bit away from the question. If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed. That people have thrown up on the community channel. I'm going to be doing this on a monthly occurrence so that you have a chance to ask me the questions that are on your mind. Thank you so much for joining me. A big thanks to young Barnabas. He's been a great help and a good boy. And that, my friends, is good coaching.